Hello! Last we spoke, I was doing tillering, working up to the final tillering with my rasp. When I do the final tillering, to cure any inconsistencies and smooth things out and make sure that when I'm looking at it there's no like lumps in it, I use sandpaper. Now I use two sanding blocks. I use this hard wooden one, just pine, and I cut it to the size that if I rip my sandpaper, the standard sheets, into 8 pieces, it works out well, and so I can minimize the waste of my sandpaper using this to fine-tune it. And I get away from really relying just on a tillering stick. I like to, well, let me actually string this thing. Now because the tips are so soft, I can't use just a loop, so I have to make like a slip loop on here so it grips it. And so that'll grip it tight and it won't allow it to split in. I suppose if you were to make balsam fir bows, this would be like a good type of wood to use horn tips on, because these tips are just really weak. I'll use my sanding block, and you can see that, like, and I'll rotate it because it does wobble like this, so it's a little deceptive. There we go, and I'm going to draw it back a little bit. I'm not going to overstress it because I cut this thing green a couple days ago and it hasn't had a chance to dry out. And so when I'm doing my final tillering, go from the rasp, not being too ambitious because you don't want to ruin it at that point, to 80 grit. And sighting it down here, your eye has a tremendous capacity to see if there's undulations in width over a length. I do rely on sighting it this way quite a bit. And I noticed that I corrected it so it's not lumpy through the handle, and there's a bend. Bend, 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 and I see a bend all the way to there. And again, nice smooth bend, smooth bend, smooth bend, all the way to here. So I do have distributed forces. I am going to let this dry before I give it any more draw. I don't think it's going to fail in tension. I think that you're going to see that if this thing does die an early death, it's going to be because of compression. You'll start seeing, which I'm not seeing yet because I haven't overstressed it, creisels or compression lines that run perpendicular to the line. That's a sign that, like, it's not happy compression wise. And so I want to preserve this thing until I can flight test it, just letting it dry out. Hopefully as it dries out, the belly will get a little bit tougher and I'll be able to get some decent flight shots. Now, my conclusions as far as balsam fir is, you can make a bow out of it. However, I wouldn't make it narrow like this. I would make it wide and thinner. Distribute the loads. It would be like having two very light bows side by side. That's about it. I greased it, I heated it up and rubbed grease into it, and again, when it cools, it will suck the grease into it. That's about it. As next time you see this bow, this beautiful warlike balsam fir bow, I'll be flight shooting it. Again, because it's not dry all the way. Hold it back there. Everything looks good so far. From my eye, nice. Thank you for watching, and you probably appreciate a short video that I did.